Got it? Okay. So just real quick, I want to explain the technique more so on aluminum siding. Aluminum siding, you just have to be a lot more delicate, really low pressure, stand a little farther back, use higher orifice tips. For example, for the 8 gallon a minute, we're using the 2560 orifice tip on the fan setting, and for the 2-story nozzle, it's the 0060, so 0 degree but 6 gallons per minute. So it's the more water that can go through, the less pressure we'll have. Instead of spraying directly at the house, we're gonna kind of come at it sideways and let the indirect pressure get on there. Basically, a good rule of thumb, if you can hear that water hitting the siding, you're going too hard. You're hitting it too hard. And the reason is the paint is failing on aluminum siding, always. So if you can hear it, if we're hitting that with too much pressure, you're gonna have streaking. You're gonna knock some of that bad paint off, or too much of it, and you're gonna have like basically a streak of discolored paint. And we want it to come out all even. So that's about it. Just make sure, especially with aluminum siding, anything electrical we're taping off. That one we have wrapped, and then this one over here. This one over here is a flat outlet, so we're taping from the bottom up so that the ridges fall down like a roof. So first piece goes to the bottom and go upward. Okay. Another thing, and that's about it. This goes with any type of siding, but especially aluminum. You want to be cautious of this. Is pay attention to where your overspray is. Make sure stuff isn't dry. So we sprayed in the porch, and when we sprayed this way, the overspray came out and started to drip down. I already applied another coat, but I don't know if you could tell, but there was some streaking. It's since all evened out for the most part. Can you see that streaking at all?
I see a little bit of streak there, but that's it.
Okay, I should have took the clip before, but it's not the end of the world. You just put another coat on real quick and just even that out. We might need to put a couple coats on it to just really make sure it's evened out. A good rule of thumb is just keep everything wet. And it doesn't have to be wet with H2O. As long as it's wet, even if it's chem, that's a plus. We just don't want this stuff drying. So say you have this dry, say you got to spray this and you're worried about overspray, which has already happened. You're worried about overspray hitting this dry siding. Just go ahead and keep spraying. Just keep spraying that chem. As long as you're keeping it all wet, you're good. You just don't want it to dry. And just keep it wet up until you rinse. Walking back here, I'll tell them to cut it. I would probably leave it on until it starts showing it's clean, because it's gonna take a little while. You might have to need to put a few coats on, you know?
Yeah.
Be careful because that paint's coming off. So you think you got the aluminum siding down?